there was a report from Matt Mayoko, of course, and it said that D Ford and Nick Bosa were practicing today. So I think that's the first thing that we should lead into. I'm gonna pass it to Bronze. We're gonna do, the same system that we've been doing. Let Bronze choose who's gonna speak next.
Let's start with Grant.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me the Niners are approaching this as not a must-win game, but the closest thing to it week one. If a guy can go, he's going to go. So Deebo Samuel, he was been running around on the side of the practice field for weeks. He looks healthy. The question is he in football shape? And the answer is no. But what can you ask? Right. I mean, would you rather have Dante Pettis start or Deebo Samuel, who's not quite in football shape? So it seems like he's going to play. Is he going to get 12 targets? I'd be shocked. But he could be a decoy. He could get 4 targets and a couple of end arounds and see where he's at. So, yeah, I expect he's going to play in this game. And same with Nick Bosa.
Yeah, Jason.
Right.
I think that's really just the only concern that you have about Deebo. I didn't think that it was really much of a chance that he's going to miss week one. It just depends on how much they use him. What's the percentage of snaps, And there is a world where Deebo can play 35, 40 snaps. He can be saved, and the 49ers can still win the game. So I hope that the 49ers figure out that sort of balance in their attack, and I'm certain that they'll figure out ways around that. And Bosa and Ford, that's amazing to hear because we got to do the Kyler Murray. So it's good to have both those guys on the outside, being ready to play. I got to watch the game yesterday, and I got to see some. It's funny how you watch the game when you first see it. You watch it again, then you watch it a third time, and you start to see a little bit other stuff. So like when we get into the game preview, like when we actually do the preview, there were some things that I saw that the 49ers needed to clean up in that game a lot. Like and as far as defensively, and we'll talk about that, but it's more about just containing him in the pocket and making sure that you collapse on both sides and let your men up front work. So let's just see that. I mean, it's good to have both of them back, and that's it. Like that's all we wanted, right? Get them week one. That's it.
Yep.
Most definitely.
Well, what do you guys think with do you think it's gonna be sloppy this first game with a lot of like false starts and all that?
All over the league is gonna be like that, man. All over the league is gonna be like that.
Yeah, not just sloppiness, but I think conditioning will be an issue too. They haven't even played preseason. They've had 2 weeks of training camp. It's going to be hot. I think if the Cardinals are clever, they come out in a no huddle offense first quarter and see what the Niners defensive line conditioning is. Like see where Kinlaw's at, DJ Jones, Nick Bosa, D4, all these guys. I mean, that's their offense anyway. So yeah, I think we're going to see like actual conditioning determine the outcome of games in the NFL, which is wild.
Nice. He's right about that too, because what I noticed when I watched that game yesterday, when I watched the first game on Halloween, it's like right when Arizona went up tempo, everything kind of just went a little bit left. Like they that's the idea, is to get everybody on the field as much as they can, and they have an offense that's conducive to being able to run fast. Like with as far as like pace of play. So it's like as soon as they did that, all of a sudden the offense starts to click. Kyler gets into a little bit of a rhythm, and then that's when it gets a little bit scary. So, I mean, I think that's a great point. I figure that's probably going to be one of the ways they attack because it worked twice against the 49ers last year.
You have to tire out the Niners D-line to put up points against them. You have to. And I think Arizona, there's a couple of ways you can do it. One, go up tempo. Two, those bubble screens left and right. Just get the D-line chasing. Oh, and that's a big part of their running game anyway. So, interesting matchup.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm going to hit on both of those points. The first point was D Ford and Bosa. I'm just happy to hear that they're back at practice. That's very important to this defense, having those 2 edge guys back at practice. Being able to practice during the dress rehearsal, I think that's a huge advantage because say if they're injured for the whole week and they come in the last day or two for dress rehearsals, you're not going 100%, right? So it's not really – come on, Roy boy. It's not really going to do the team any justice to have those guys for 1 or 2 days. But to know that they're going to get a full week of practice in for all the dress rehearsals for the Cardinals game is very important. The second point, do I think there will be some sloppiness, some uncalled for penalties? Yes. The first thing that happens when any athlete gets tired is they start to break down mentally. And what happens is all of the plans that you have, the preparations, your technique, everything just starts to break down. So, yeah, I think we'll see a few sloppy plays here and there. And as far as the strategy for the Cardinals, if you want to go up tempo, that's good. But if you get a few fourth downs and they're off the field within a minute or two, and the Niners have the ball in their hand, that spells trouble, right? And I think that could work for them, and I think it could really work against them. So we'll definitely come out and see what's going to happen. But I do agree with Grant and Jason. I do think that they're going to try to go up tempo, and we'll just see where our conditioning is. Also, they have a disadvantage also because DeAndre Hopkins has not been practicing. Right. I think he just came back to practice. So, it's not going to be all peaches and cream for them either. Right. So,
also, if you know, like a lot of times, like starters don't play in the preseason anyway. I feel like the last 10 years, the first 4 weeks of the NFL season has kind of been sloppy anyway. It's kind of been like an extended preseason, and you start to see good football in October. So that's probably going to be
right.
Right.
Yeah,
provided that you're comfortable in the system and you've been there. I think that if Hopkins, we had a normal preseason, we would have definitely saw Hopkins in this preseason just because of the lack of continuity and trying to build that rapport. So, while it is something that I'll hang my hat on because it's definitely true. Everybody's making
you just got a $2 tip for sounding like Barry White. That's fine.
I'm gonna try to sound like Patrick Mahomes. Kermit the Frog. Shout out to Niner by Nature.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be interesting to see how this
he is sounding like Trey the Truth. I like that. He sounded like Trey.
Oh shoot!
Sounding like Zero. Zero to Crooked.
So I guess y'all gonna go in on me all. That's what it is. Damn, I appreciate it.